Welcome to the Holy Shhh Podcast, AEW All In 2024 London post-show. It's your boy ABE from DET. And what an incredible night of wrestling. This was no PLE, this was a pay-per-view, and every dollar spent was worth it. There was a couple of spots I didn't really care for, a couple of decisions and winners I didn't really care for. We'll get into those, but overall, tremendous pay-per-view put on by All Elite Wrestling like they always do. People can complain about Rampage, they can complain about Collision, and they can complain about Dynamite. But one thing you will never complain about is an AEW pay-per-view because they hit it out the park every single time, and tonight was no exception. Now, we can get into all the matches of the 0 Hour, but that name was fitting because 0 Hour, I gave $0. It was just too much going on, too many people. It was a 16-man tag match. What the hell? Who the hell ever created one of those, and why? But it was that went on. It was a match with the Von Erichs and Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. It was just too much. You want to watch those matches, go watch them on your own. But we're going to start at what counted. Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro defeating Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. Now, Chuck likes to call R-Truth a national treasure. And I'm going to just add Stokely to that list. This man needs to be protected at all costs. As Ron T would say, his shenanigans are top tier. But like I said, Nightingale finally gets the advantage over them. She's been getting the short end of the stick lately with Statlander and Hathaway, but she gets the win. It was a very entertaining match. Hopefully now we can get Statlander, Nightingale one-on-one in some type of significant form coming up in the future. That I am looking forward to much. It's putting a cap on this whole feud. It's been beautiful. Great storytelling. Friends turn enemies. Well done storytelling. Thank you. Next up, Saraya comes to the ring and offers an open challenge. Everybody's suspicious who's it gonna be. She brings her whole family to the ring, it seems like. They're at home. Why not? Let's celebrate. And none other than Jamie Hayter makes her return to AEW. She's been injured for like a year, been gone. She kicks Saraya's ass, beats her whole family's ass, even hits her mom. It was some serious mother abuse going on in this pay-per-view. I'll discuss that later about the women's title match later on, but shout out to the moms. They took some bumps at All In tonight. But I'm looking forward to where this heads with Saraya and Jamie Hayter, a feud, or maybe this was just a bump in the road. I was kind of disappointed at first because I wanted Hayter to come back and maybe help Britt Baker later on in the evening in a more significant spot. But I was watching a podcast by my boy To Be Determined. Check him out if y'all haven't. He was saying that it was a good idea because Hayter and Saraya were on the buy-in, and the people who were on the fence, that's what the buy-in is for. They want to wheel you in to buy the pay-per-view, and thinking about it like that makes sense because Hayter and Saraya, they two big names. They tore it down. It was very entertaining, and if you were on the fence about buying the pay-per-view, I'm sure this shifted your pockets to go ahead and hit send, pay, or however you got the pay-per-view. But shout out Hayter on her comeback. Cannot wait to see her go back after that women's world title that she never really lost. She should be in the title contention right away. Now let's get into the pay-per-view. Starts off with the Trios Championship. The winners and new champions, Claudio, Pac, and Yuta. Yeah, I said Pac. With Moxley being on a little bit of a hiatus, the Lucha Bros contracts in there, you gotta put them somewhere. Why not team them with them? But they get the dub by defeating the House of Black, Bullet Club Gold, and like I said, the champions, the Patriarch, to become the new AEW's Trios champion. It's just something about Pac though. His face, it's like he always upset. I don't know if he's gonna turn on somebody or what. He just didn't seem happy. Maybe that's just his gimmick. But anyway, it was a hell of a match. Great wrestlers, top to bottom. And the House of Black, I'm telling you, they need to be put in a serious, significant storyline. I just like they look. I like everybody in their group. It's like it just fits like a glove. And with Buddy Murphy being re-signed, let's make him earn that contract and start getting some momentum out of this. You know what I mean? House of Black, Tony Khan, let's get them rolling. But shout out to the new champs, Claudio, Pac, and Yuta. Now, the moment that a lot of AEW fans have been waiting for. The finale of one of the best stories that's been told on wrestling television all year. Mariah May and Toni Storm, they finally collide for the Women's World Champion. And your new Women's World Champion is none other than the Supernova Rocket brand new Rookie of the Year superstar herself, Mariah May. Earlier, I said it was some motherly violence going on in this pay-per-view. It was a moment where Mariah May just threw gasoline on her fire of a heel run by smacking the shit out of Toni Storm's mom. The whole crowd was booing the hell out of her. I just knew Toni was going to win after this. I'm like, oh, you can't smack somebody's mama and then take their title. But sure enough, that's what they did, and I like it. If you saw our pre-show predictions on Dre, a.k.a. Dre on Wheels, if you haven't, go check it out. But I predicted Mariah May will win just for this fact. You just built up this huge star. You need a payoff. She's on a hell of a roll. Her wrestling has been great. Her look has always been incredible. Her mic skills been turning up, and she has her own character now. She separated herself from that mentor, Toni Storm, wearing her gear type gimmick. She is her own character, her own woman, and now the new Women's World Champion, and I ain't mad at it. Shout out to Luther for coming back. He came back, made his debut for me, and tossed off the ramp months ago by Mariah May. He even got drop kicked during this match by her, spit in the face by her. He took some abuse during this feud, so I know he, of all people, is glad that it's over. Maybe, maybe not, but we have a new champion, Mariah May. Shout out Tony Khan. People always giving him shit. You're bringing over WWE stars. You're not building your own. He just did that from scratch with Mariah May. So shout out Tony Khan, the writers, for creating their own superstars, homegrown in AEW. Love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. Next up, speaking of homegrown talent, Hook defeats Jericho and brings home the FTW title back to his family. The entire match, though, Big Bill, Brian Keith, they was jumping in with all type of distractions. I was just looking for Joe. I was looking for Shibata. They didn't come. Hook had to fight them all off on his own. But then, when the odds were just getting a little bit too much for Hook, here comes Dad to the rescue. None other than Taz himself. He puts Brian Keith in a Kata Hajime judo chokehold, aka the Taz mission. I love that move back in the day, but at his old age, he got off the commentator. He still got enough to choke a nigga out, and that's exactly what he did with Brian Keith, giving Hook the even playing field and his ability to retain, or regain, I should say, the FTW championship. Not for the world anymore. It is back to being fuck the world championship held by Hook himself. Shout out Hook, man. Another homegrown AEW talent doing a damn thing, winning titles, main staging. I cannot wait to see him take a little more step towards that AEW world title, or maybe even the TNT, maybe the international title, maybe even the Continental. I could see him going against Okada right now. But Hook needs to take that next step in his wrestling journey and just go up one more level. Shout out Chris Jericho too, man. I gave him a lot of shit at the beginning of this feud. I said he cannot do anything for Hook, but he proved me wrong, and he made me even more of a believer of why I put him on my Mount Rushmore. He got Hook, Big Bill, Brian Keith, all of them looking like absolute stars. That's what the greats do. They just don't make themselves great. They put others over as well. So salute, shout out to the man himself, Chris Jericho, as well. But next up, the Bucks retain their AEW tag titles. This was a shocker. I just felt like they was gonna lose them, but They beat FTR and the Acclaim. This was as some people like to say, a spot monkey fest. It was all type of flips and doodads and wahoos. I like that type of wrestling. Some people don't, but you got to know what type of wrestler you're watching, what you're getting into when you watch it. So when I watch the Bucks, I'm not going to see no grappling match, no hard hitting. I'm going to see some goddamn spots. Ain't nothing wrong with a little spot monkeying around every now and then. Why do people shit on them so much? That's the type of wrestling that they're good at. Let them do that. But anyway, they get the win. It was a great moment during the match where the Young Bucks, what was his name? Matt Jackson and Caster together did the EVP trigger, and then Wheeler assisted with the Shatter Machine as well. It was a great seeing those tag teams mix up the finishers. That was a great spot. But Young Bucks, they get the win. The EVPs make the call, and they said, no, we're not losing nothing. We are still the AEW Tag Team Champion. And I'm for it. Hey, heels having titles make for better television because baby faces get to go on incredible runs of chasing them down. So I'm all for it. Next up, the Casino Gauntlet. The winner, aka I like to call this match the Money in the Bank, because the winner gets an instant title shot whenever they want at the World Championship. Everybody and their mama thought it was going to be Hangman Page. But the winner and the man who has an opportunity to win a world title whenever he wants is Christian Cage. Yes, he lost his trios match a few matches ago, but he said, hell with that. I'm entering in this gauntlet, and he did. And with the help of Switchblade, or whatever Switchblade, aka Luchasaurus, he gets the dub. He is now in possession of a contract that guarantees him a title match. And if it is against Bryan Danielson sometime soon, the television during those promos with him ripping Birdie and Bree, because that's what Christian Cage is good at, just shitting on families, saying how he's a better father. This will be some incredible television. Christian Cage, I love him as Edge and Christian. What they did with the Dudleys, the Hardys, it will go down in history, but that's as a tag team. His greatest work as a singles wrestler has hands down been in AEW, and I don't see it stopping no time soon. He was in 2 matches today. I don't care how old he is. He still was going. He still got the juice in the ring, and especially on the mic. He is an absolute savage. Some of the things he is saying and doing, the man should have misdemeanor charges brought against him ASAP. But Christian Cage is in pure form. But that wasn't even the best part of the whole match. We finally get the much anticipated debut of Ricochet. He came out with Cody Rhodes like firecrackers just going off in the stadium, outside the stadium. They treated him like an absolute superstar. And this is the way he should be portrayed. I was getting a lot of slack online because I've been saying WWE, they don't know how to promote black men wrestlers. Shout out this guy named Solo. I'm going to tag you in this post so you can see this. It's not that I was trying to make this a racial thing. Everything don't always have to be about race. What this is about is whoever's running WWE's main creative, it's not that they hate black people. They don't understand the culture. Like AEW, they have somebody writing their stuff that understands this culture, this hip hop youth culture, and they know how to promote black men in it via Swerve, how he came out today with Bun B, Westside Gun, DJ Who Kid, guys involved in the culture because they understand the culture. It's something about WWE's main roster that doesn't know how to present this culture of hip hop, urban youth that black men thrive in sometimes. And I just look at that as the reason why, because if you look at NXT, my man Solo in the comments was saying NXT, they know how to do it. Sean got some black in him, because he know what he doing down there. Him and Ava, they got Trick going crazy. They got Kalani Jordan going crazy. They got who else? They had Mello down there going crazy, and they just know how to engage in the culture and present it well. Somebody on the main roster need to figure that out. Like I said, it's not about race. It's about not knowing how to present the culture that black men represent. Period. Now, shout out Ricochet. I'm pretty sure he's going to do hell of a things. He got incredible matches lined up. You could put him against Ospreay, Swerve, Shibata, Joe. I mean, anybody. And Ricochet is going to shine because he's at a place where his skill, professional wrestling, can be utilized to its maximum. Cannot wait to see what the future is in store for Ricochet. I know Samantha was at home just like, that's my baby. Whew, shout out Samantha, man. I'm going to miss them Wednesdays. They just ain't going to be the same no more. But anyway, back to the show. Next up, we got Will Ospreay, who came out with a hell of an entrance. It was like some Assassin's Creed type stuff. But anyway, he defeats MJF finally and turns that stupid American championship back into what it's supposed to be, the international championship. But he didn't quite do it alone. There was a masked man that came out and hit MJF, and it was none other than Daniel Garcia. We've been waiting on him to come back. He got pile drive to hell months ago by MJF, and he's been on the injured reserve list or just on the waiting list, but he is back. The crowd went crazy, and you can see now that MJF lost the title. They probably gonna shift their attention back to that feud because Daniel Garcia, he is a true star, man. And if these rumors are going around about him leaving and wanting to go to WWE, I hope they're not true. He will get lost in that shuffle. He is not a WWE guy. I just don't see it. He's not that. He's not that. He needs to stay in AEW, be that underground, grungy New York or wherever he's from, Long Island, I don't know, that part over there on the East Coast. He just need to be that guy over at AEW and he will shine. And then eventually later in your career, when you get more seasoned, then go to AEW. But hell of a match. And once again, Will Ospreay, I say it every week, and I'm not going to stop this week. He's the best professional wrestler on the goddamn planet. Don't argue with me, argue with your mama. Shout out Ospreay, the new international champion. Now we get to a match that, I'm be quite honest, man, it let me down. It let me down. Fans been giving me hell week after week after week about Mercedes Moné, and week after week after week I've been defending her. She just let me down. Or maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was a little bit to do with Britt Baker. Maybe it was to do with their chemistry. Britt Baker being out a while. I don't know. But this match just did not click to me. Or it could have been just the Ospreay effect. I said this last pay-per-view. Whoever goes on after him, it's a hard act to follow. So maybe that was the case. But I don't know. This match just didn't sit right with me. The crowd wasn't engaged. I wasn't engaged. I even think I went to go heat up my wings at this point, and I came back. Mercedes Moné retained and somewhat clean. It was some shenanigans, but the finish at the very end was pretty much clean. Just beat Britt Baker outright. There was no Becky Lynch coming in. There was no Jamie Hayter coming in. She just lost. Mercedes Moné is still the TBS champion. I'm not mad at it. It wasn't bad. It was just everything else was just hitting on so many levels. And when this match came, it was not bad. Do not be jumping on me like, I told you about Mercedes. No, it was not bad. It just everything else was great. So it made this stand out by just being okay and good. You know, like C-, B, you know, that B range. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a failing grade, but it wasn't like a A++. But I'm pretty sure they're going to pick it up. The next few going to be that much better. Hopefully, maybe Mercedes now can shift to Jamie Hayter or something like that. Britt Baker can go after the world title. Who knows? Let's just mix it all up. But stop this whole Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker. It didn't work. It didn't work. The chemistry wasn't there. Let's just move on. Next up, Jack Perry, the scapegoat, defeats Darby Allin in their coffin match. And afterwards, the sadistic EVPs come down. They douse Darby Allin with gasoline. And right when they're about to set that son of a bitch on fire, here comes Sting to the rescue with a shitload of black hair dye and his hair looking old and crispy as hell. But anyway, he comes down with the bat knocks out Jack Perry, hits the EVPs with the double scorpion driver, opens the coffin to save Darby Allin. Big crowd pop, that nostalgic feel of legends coming back. You can never get enough of that. So I love this match. I thought Darby Allin might have a chance to win, but I'm glad they put Jack Perry over. He is becoming a huge star. Everybody is forgetting about Jungle Boy. They are not calling him Jungle Boy no more. That whole gimmick, as big as it was, the waving with Luchasaurus, it was huge. The Dinosaur Express, that was huge. But just imagine now, nobody's talking about that. They're being outshined by this scapegoat character, him being just a vicious heel. RIP to his dad. The acting skills have been passed on because Jack Perry has his character down pat, his mic skills down pat. His wrestling's always been there, and he is really coming together to represent those 4 pillars in AEW. When they first mentioned the pillars, I was like, nah, maybe not him, but he has proven me wrong. Jack Perry is 1,000% a pillar holding up AEW right now. Cannot wait to see what's coming for him, and I gotta find where I can buy that TNT title. That TNT custom title that he had is my favorite version of that TNT title, hands down. So if somebody know how I can buy it, email it to me, DM it to me. I need it in my life ASAP. Next up is the main event, ladies and gentlemen. This was a shocker. But like I said earlier, AEW, they understand the culture. They know how to present black men. Swerve has been looking like Wrestler of the Year. Even with this match over, I still believe he's #1 candidate for Wrestler of the Year. They present him well. They let him do his thing. They let him be involved in the culture. They present him in a way where the young kids, they think he cool. They think he that guy. They think he the one. He looks legitimate. He comes out to the ring, DJ Who Kid screams out, "Whose house?" And you already know what they scream, in Swerve's house. He comes down rapping with none other than Houston legends, Bum B. Then he also comes down with West Side Gun. He comes down with Prince Nana doing a dance. The whole presentation just screams greatness. How do you drop the ball on somebody like Swerve Strickland and let him leave WWE? But either way, I'm glad you did, because he's a megastar getting the credit that he deserves. He's on fire. The #1 overall wrestler right now in AEW. Don't quote me from earlier saying Will Ospreay's the best wrestler, because he is that. But overall success, Swerve is #1. When it comes to accomplishments, accolades, and just getting the job done, you got to give it to Swerve. He's just on fire right now. But as on fire as he is, he does not retain his title. If you saw in the pre-show, I predicted him to retain it. I just was like, it don't make no sense for Danielson to win it. But the storytelling of this match leading up and the storytelling in the ring, we forget about that sometimes. You could tell a story with moves, and they did that. When Swerve took Bryan Danielson and put him on the ringside and was holding his hands and stumping his face in front of his son, his daughter, and his wife. At that moment, I turned on my guy Swerve. Storytelling was that good. I turned. I said, Danielson gotta win this shit. You can't stump a man in front of his family like that and let him lose. It was false finish after false finish. I was on the edge of my seat like a goddamn little kid watching WrestleMania with his daddy in the living room with pizzas and his friend. It was just that feeling. The false finishes get me every time when they're done well, and they did it to the T. But there was one false finish that nobody could kick out of, and it was that submission. Oh, actually, it wasn't even a false finish. It was just a submission. Bryan Danielson put him in the submission. Swerve tapped out for the first time in his AEW career, and I wasn't mad at it. The crowd went crazy. If you didn't see this, just go back to that shot. It was nostalgic of when he won the title at WrestleMania. That same feel. You couldn't point out one person in the crowd who didn't have their hands in the air, screaming at the top of their lungs. That London crowd, all international crowds, are just amazing, man. Even when WWE goes out of town and they singing those songs for Bayley, it's just something about that energy. I need to get out this country one day and go see one of them international shows, because that crowd, I know Bryan Danielson had to feel like $1 million when he won. They were going crazy. And then the moment when his kids came in the ring, Brie came in the ring, the moment it was like timing was so perfect. The hook of the song, final countdown, and the pyro went off, hands went up. I'm not saying I shed a tear, but pollen was in the goddamn air, man. I'm telling you, I did not cry. It was the allergies, it was the pollen, it's the season. You know, cider mills is around, all that jazz. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it was a hell of a moment. And though I made a great point saying if Danielson was losing, it was no point for him to win this title, sometimes moments are important. So if this was just a moment, he's going to win it, then he's going to relinquish on Dynamite. I'm not mad at it, because that moment was worth $1 million. This is what wrestling is all about. You want the story, you want to believe, and you want to see the achievement to bring the tears and the emotions out of you. And that's what they did. If this was Bryan Danielson's last match, he went out like an absolute champion. But shout out Daniel Bryanson, the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, brother. You are unquestionably today the best in the world. On a scale of 1 to 10, this wasn't a perfect show. It was some shenanigans that I didn't even talk about in the zero fucks given hour at the beginning with all these 16, 30-man matches, whatever it was. That let me down a little bit. The Mercedes Moné match let me down a little bit, but we still in the high 9s, so I'm giving this a 9.6. This could have easily been a 10 if they could have just adjusted those couple of matches, but I ain't mad at it. You can't be perfect every single pay-per-view, but they was damn near close to it. AEW, man, they are on fire. They got Ricochet in the picture now. They got great champions. They got homegrown talent who have elevated and become champions, credible champions. They've got storylines that are continuing after this pay-per-view. You got Swerve. You got Hangman. It is just so much to look forward to as an AEW fan. And I know I've seen people. There's some content creators. I be the only one every week promoting AEW. But I seen a ton of creators today giving AEW posts, and I'm loving it. I ain't mad at y'all. I ain't hating, but I'm just so glad people are finally jumping on board. And hopefully this can be the beginning of some respect getting put on the name of AEW. But y'all know how we do it. Next week, y'all probably catch us on Monday Night Raw post-show. The whole crew will be there. Check out Chuck's Angels. That's uploading as we speak. But till then, enjoy professional wrestling for what it is, people. Stop saying you're an AEW fan or you're a WWE fan. Just be a fan of the whole goddamn sport. Because what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. But till next time, y'all know who it is. It's your boy ABE, and you're watching the Holy Shhh Podcast. Woo! What a show. Media.